What's up again, YouTube? Jeff back again here from High on Android and DopeTechDaily.com. And today I wanted to give you guys some impressions on the Galaxy Gear S2 after 24 hours. Now you guys saw me unbox it. There's the packaging right there. I did that yesterday. Got it. You guys saw what was inside the box. Pretty simple packaging. We got the wireless charger and everything. If you didn't see the unboxing video already, I'll throw a link in a card up in the right corner, the left corner. I never know where it's going to show up. But anyway, I'll throw that up there. You go check out the unboxing. So anyway, there's the packaging. Today I just want to give some impressions after using it for 24 hours. You guys saw me try to pair this watch up with a couple of non-Samsung phones. Now, Samsung says on their website that this watch should work with any Android phone running 4.4 KitKat or later with 1.5 gigabytes of RAM. But then, if you look a little deeper, they have a list of officially supported devices. So as we saw in the last video, it doesn't actually work with every single phone that has those specs because I couldn't get it to pair to my ZT Axon Pro. Now the ZT Axon Pro is running Android 5.1, of course, with 4 gigs of RAM. So obviously Samsung's claim is not entirely true. So I tested this watch with a few other phones. This does work with the Moto X Pure, which you guys saw in the last the unboxing video. It also works with the LG G3 and the G4. It also works, of course, with my Note 5 and my S6 Edge Plus, which is what I paired it to in the end because I want to take advantage of Samsung Pay when that becomes available. That'll be available starting next month, Samsung says. So if you want to take advantage of Samsung Pay on here, you will need a Samsung phone for that. So I'll talk about that more in a second. The other phone I tried this with so far was the OnePlus 2. And that seemed to work fine. So I still got a few other phones I want to try out and see if they will work. But those are the ones I've tested so far. So you guys sort of know which phones I have. If you have a phone that you want me to try, drop a comment below and I'll try to get to it. So I tried to get back to the people who asked. Obviously, I can only test the phones I have. The other ones I have on deck, of course, I'll give them a try and let you guys know. All right, so again, I'll drop the list of official compatibility from Samsung below. But if you have other questions, feel free to ask me. So let's take a look at a few of the features. Now my impressions after using this for 24 hours, I said this in an article I wrote on High on Android last evening after playing with it for 3 hours. I think this is the smoothest, fastest smartwatch I've used. So if you see the rotating bezel here, look how fast you can navigate through the interfaces and also through your apps. So you can use the rotating bezel. You can also swipe if you want, if you don't want to use the bezel. But it is just lightning fast. I mean, it's lightning fast opening up apps, and you can use the home and back button. It's a really great way to navigate. So you can use your home and back buttons from on the sides here. You can use the bezel if you like that, which I personally do, or you can also use the touch interface. So I think this is the fastest smartwatch I've used. I will say that having all of these different interfaces could be a little confusing if you're not a tech enthusiast. You know, do I rotate? You know, you guys saw with the setup when I did it yesterday, it's like, try this rotation, try pressing these buttons, try tapping the screen. All of them do different things, and if you're not a tech person, that may be more annoying to you, but for me, I like having the options, and I definitely like the rotating bezel. The next thing I did is I did test the water resistance of the Gear S2, of course IP68 certified, so I went and took this in the shower with me, and it seems to be fine. I took it to the gym this morning, worked out. It's great for fitness. I tested out, of course, S-Health. Great for tracking your steps, doing all of your activity. It's awesome for using, and you don't even need to take it off in the shower, as I just said. So if you go to the gym and then you want to go after your workout, take a shower, which is what I did, just jump in there and this thing's fine. So it's smooth. I tried using it while I was in the shower, see if the rotating bezel would work. Rotating bezel works fine in the shower, and you can tap and navigate the interface. The touch sensitivity is actually there too. I was actually really impressed with how well it worked. So water resistance, also in terms of the rotating bezel, super fast. The next thing, battery life. I've only had it for 1 day. You guys can see I've been wearing it today. If we can get a shot, I've got 84% right there. I did wake up late today because it's Saturday. I woke up around 10 a.m. It's about 4:30, 4:45. Well, actually, I've got a watch right here, so let's not turn it on Do Not Disturb. I've got a watch right here, so it's about 4:35 here in Phoenix. So I've been up for about 6.5 hours, and I've used it various places. Just going out, ran a few errands, got some food, came back when watching football. So not really heavy use, but pretty decent battery life. But I think one place that this is going to lack compared to the last generation is definitely battery life. So we'll see how that goes. Having it only one day, I can't really say a whole lot about it, but it's pretty decent so far. Yesterday, I charged it before going out last night. I went out around 6:30, came back around 2:30 in the morning. That was 8 hours. Again, not heavy use. I went to a movie, and I came back with about 72%, so 28% over 8 hours. Not terrible, but not great. The next thing is the number of available apps. So I played around with some of the apps on here. I showed you guys the stock Samsung apps. Most of these are stock Samsung apps. One thing I noticed with Buddy, so if you have Buddy in here, it'll automatically put your contacts that you have on your Edge display. So I've got this paired up to my Galaxy S6 Edge Plus now. And so if you have contacts over here, swipe in from your Edge display, whatever's right there, see if I can get it. Whatever is right here on your Edge display is also going to be the contacts that show up here on your Buddy feature on your Gear S2. That's if you have the S6 Edge Plus. Let's see, let's look at some of the other apps. So the other Samsung apps, Gallery, those are pretty self-explanatory. Music Player, CNN. CNN and Bloomberg are two of the big third-party apps. Timer, the alarm, weather, S-Voice. S-Voice is kind of a sore point for me because I really prefer to use Google Now for my voice commands. That's one thing I miss when I use Samsung watches, but that is what it is. You've got Schedule, which is Samsung version of Calendar. Settings, you've got the Nike Running app, which is great for fitness. This is a really good third-party app. You've got S-Health, you've got Phone, and, oops, I want to go back to the last page now. We've got Maps, Voice Memo, Milk Music, of course, Messages, Email, and I installed the Yelp app. So the Yelp app's actually a pretty nice third-party app as well. The interface is a little tricky to navigate. See, I've got some Google notifications there. It's a little tricky to navigate because this is a much smaller watch than the original Gear S. So if you load up the Yelp app, you'll see here it's really conducive to the rotating bezel. You got beauty, home services, health, hotels, fitness, restaurants, bars, coffee shops, and you can just tap on the interface. But because there's such a small touch target, this can be a little tricky to use. So that's my only complaint with Samsung, with the third-party apps on here. They're going to be a little bit more difficult, I think, than the original Gear S. So you can see there's a recommendation for Gangnam Sushi Grill, and then I can just rotate through the bezel to get my restaurant recommendations. So the Yelp app I kind of like. The other thing that I installed on here, which was one of the recommended apps on the Samsung Gear store, is the ESPN app. So if we go through here, see if I can find the ESPN app. I think it's at the very end. Nike. There's all the third-party watch faces. Here's my ESPN app. You'll have to download the ESPN app on your phone as well to use this, and it shows scores of your favorite team. So here's the NFL score. Unfortunately, my fiance's favorite team, the Steelers, they lost the other night. But otherwise, this one doesn't offer a whole lot of functionality aside from just the watch face right now. So ESPN, of course, has a chance to improve this. You get the scores. You have to pick your favorite teams, and then it'll show you those scores when you go through. When you get a new score, you'll get a new score appearing on your home screen that you can stay up to date with. So the ESPN watch face is pretty nice, but so far they haven't rolled out all of these third-party apps that Samsung was showing off at IFA. So when that happens, this is going to get a lot richer. Overall, my impressions of wearing it, I didn't really put the watch on and show you guys last time, so let me do that. It's easier to do behind the camera here. Just going to put the watch on really quick, and I'll show you guys what it looks like on the wrist. And then I want to do a few size and feature comparisons to some of the other watches I have and sort of tell you what it is you're going to be missing with each of the other watches. So you can see here how it looks on my wrist. It is smaller, of course, than my 46mm Moto 360. So I showed you guys this one in the last video. The Moto 360 46mm is quite a bit bigger. This thing has a 1.2-inch round 3060 by 360 resolution. And so the screen, though, does look crisp, of course, because it's actually smaller. It's not going to be quite as pixelated. The Moto 360, I like the 46mm for the big screen, but it is a little more pixelated, of course, because it only has 233 ppi, because it's also running that same resolution, but with a bigger screen. So yes, this is a bigger watch on wrist. So if you want a smaller watch, the Gear S2 might be good. The other impression is, this is a rubber band, and it's pretty comfortable, but it's definitely not premium. But what it is great for, of course, is fitness, because you don't want a leather band or a steel band if you're going to go running. So I think it's great for that. And of course, if you're a watch enthusiast, you probably have multiple regular watches too. One for fitness, one for going out, one for casual wear. I have a whole bunch of regular watches, so that's, people say, why do you have so many smartwatches? Well, this is more of a casual watch with a leather band. I could wear this, sort of every day. This is more of a fitness watch. It's got a rubber band. It's great for sweating. You can sweat all over this, take a shower with it. And then my more elegant watch, which I can wear now when I'm going out on the smartwatch side, is of course the Huawei Watch. So you guys have seen me do the Huawei Watch unboxing. Got a full review of this one coming up. I have gotten too many devices lately, so I've gotten behind, of course. You guys know this is not my single job. I got multiple hustles. I just do this, on the side for fun, but I love doing it. So the Huawei Watch, of course, has higher resolution, 400 by 400. This is definitely the crispiest screen of all of them. You can see the size comparison between these two. The Huawei Watch is bigger as well. So this one has the 1.4-inch display, also 400 by 400, so it's sharper. Of course, the PPI is pretty close because the Gear S2 is a smaller watch at 1.2 inches. So both of these look crispy, but I still think the Huawei Watch has the nicest screen in terms of overall resolution of any of the ones that I've seen on a smartwatch in this generation. So, of course, this is really sort of a classy watch you can wear anywhere. And then, of course, going through, I've got the LG Urbane. This one's about to die. I think it's already dead. It's powering off. This one's another one that I think I can sort of wear, sort of casually. You can see I've worn this one a lot. The band's gotten worn in. But this one's one you can wear casually, and you can see it's also huge compared to the Gear S2. You can see that just completely covers up the Gear S2 if you put it on the wrist because of these lugs. So, the size comparison, the Gear S2 is much smaller than all three of these watches that I've been wearing. And then, of course, the one that I think a lot of people are interested in is the comparison to last year's Gear S2, last year's Gear S. So, of course, this is a big comparison because this is the previous model of this smartwatch. Just sit these out of the way. This is the previous model of the Gear. So this is the original Gear S. And of course, there are obviously huge differences between these two devices from last year to this year. And you can see here, if I could turn this one on really quick, you see here, you've got this huge screen here, curved screen on last year's Gear S compared to this small 1.2-inch screen. So a lot of people who like the original Gear S, you're probably not going to love the new Gear S2 because it's really not the same type of device. So of course you're going to be losing some things with that. I think the screen is better on the original Gear S, in my opinion. I unpaired this one with my Edge Plus, so it's not paired to anything right now. I also think that the battery life on this particular watch was insane. So in terms of battery life, I think the battery life is probably going to be worse on the Gear S2 no matter what, because the battery life on the original Gear S is the best I've ever seen. I got 2 to 3 days with this watch consistently, and that's really, really difficult to do with a smartwatch. The other thing you're going to lose, well, at least for now, this Gear S2 model that's available right now only has Wi-Fi. This guy had 3G. You could also take calls on this watch, which you can't do anymore on the Gear S2. So you could just leave your phone at home if you wanted with the original Gear S and just have your calls sort of pushed to your watch. So that functionality, at least for now, in the Wi-Fi model, of course, we'll have to see with the 3G model. It would make more sense, of course, that you could take calls with the 3G Gear S2. So yeah, I think if you like last year's model, I'm not going to sell my Gear S because I love the features. I don't think it's necessarily a step back. I just think it's a step in a different direction. So if you like last year's model, you may or may not be a huge fan of this year's Gear S2. So what do I think you lose? I think you lose, of course, battery life. I think you lose a better screen on the Gear S. And of course, you're going to lose some of those calling features if you buy a Gear S2 now because you've got the Wi-Fi model only instead of 3G. But that is coming, so that's not a huge deal. And then just a quick comparison, what do you lose going from Android Wear to the Gear S? Because of course this runs on Tizen, or Tizen, whatever you prefer. This does not run in Android Wear, so what are you losing going from an Android Wear watch? Well, one thing you're going to lose is all of the Google services natively working really nice, like, for instance, Google Keep. Also, all of those Google apps that you love being on your watch, like Google Play Music, being able to save things for offline playback. So you can control on here, let me just scroll over. You can control your Play Music on here, but of course, let me just scroll over here. You can control your Play Music. So you see here, I was listening to some music earlier on Play Music, some Ice Cube. I have an all access subscription. You can control it on here, but what you can't do is you can't download music from Play Music from your All Access subscription and use it on here for local playback. So this thing has local playback, but you'll have to own the music from somewhere other than your All Access subscription. With Android Wear, you can save things for offline playback, store it to the watch itself, and be good to go. So that's a little bit, annoying if you love using Google Play Music and storing things for offline access. And of course, that's great for going to the gym. And then otherwise, of course, you're going to lose things like Google voice controls. That's one of my favorite features to use on Android Wear. You're going to lose that. And you're going to be forced to use a lot of the Samsung services. So in my full review, I'll be looking to see how well some of the Google services work. Gmail seems to work fine on the Gear S2, but of course there's some other things to check out. So I'll be looking into that in the full review, and I'll give you guys a full rundown. All right, so this has been my comparison of all of my smartwatches to the Gear S2 and also some impressions after 24 hours. I will throw an outline down there. I know this has been a long video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please check out highonandroid.com and dopetechdaily.com for great Android news. We got some giveaways coming up as well. Please follow me on Twitter, Google+, if you want to keep up with what's going on with me, or shoot me a line on Twitter, Google+. My links are in the description. And I appreciate you guys watching the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.